something needs to be done because our kids are out there getting killed.
The city is hurting, you know, and it's like, what do we do? How do we overcome this?
Law enforcement right now feels under siege, and they're not using the laws and the tactics they know how to use.
We're predicting more than 500 patients, more than 120% increase in gun-related admissions to our level 1 trauma center.
Welcome to a special edition of CBS 6 News at 6, Crime 360. We're taking an in-depth look at the toll gun violence has taken in Central Virginia and the search for solutions. I'm Bill Fitzgerald.
And I'm Candace Burns, live from Radio Hill in Richmond. We have spent weeks speaking with law enforcement, community activists, medical workers, and the families affected by this crisis. We start tonight with our crime insider, John Burkett, who spoke with family members of a VCU student who was shot and killed while taking out the garbage during a streak of violence in the city of Richmond.
2021, Candace, has seen streaks of violence that's made headlines. Most recent was 10 killed and 13 shot over the 4th of July holiday weekend. And also months ago, it was the Easter holiday weekend where a wave of violence gripped the city's attention. The life-changing after effects felt 2 hours away in Buckingham County.
His little fountain lights up at night.
A family plot.
Very lucky that we grew up like that.
A peaceful country cemetery. It's not where Cody Woodson's two moms planned on spending their summer, but it's where they find peace, a place to reflect, after their son, a VCU junior, was murdered taking out the trash on Gilmer Street in Richmond's Carver neighborhood on April 5th. His death less than 24 hours after a 17-year-old was gunned down at almost the exact same spot.
Completely unexpected. I mean, Cody didn't do anything wrong. Cody was very aware of his surroundings, and he knew he was comfortable with where he lived.
Angela Wright is Woodson's biological mother. Julie Woodson, stepmother.
No. I think that something needs to be done because our kids are out there getting killed.
Both women played important roles in his life as Cody grew and left for college. Woodson, a young man who knew gadgets and computer systems, described as a kind-hearted kid from the country with a special place in his heart for his siblings, other family members, and friends. Both moms say they'll continue to honor his legacy as long as they live.
VCU has started a scholarship for Cody's memorial, Cody Woodson Memorial Scholarship for Computer Science. They have set a goal of $100,000 to raise $100,000 to go towards that scholarship. So we are doing fundraisers and have bracelets and T-shirts, and we have magnets and multiple things that we're going to have to sell.
And one thing that's a hard sell right now in Richmond is public safety. More than 60 officers retiring, selecting to transfer to neighboring jurisdictions, or just getting out of the crime-fighting business. It's been a cause of concern for activists like Ricky Johnson, who deploys volunteers to help in some of Central Virginia's most impoverished communities.
We had to totally suspend because the violence got that bad, and I cannot put my volunteers in harm's way. So that's, every time there's a shooting, we have to think about that. Are we planning to go to that neighborhood within the next 3 weeks? And that's now off the table right now.
Our Crime 360 coverage continues tonight at 11. Find out how a former Richmond interim chief is making an impact with his new department just south of the city. Working for you tonight, John Burkett, CBS 6 News.
Thanks, John. The effects of gun violence don't just stay in the neighborhood where the crime is happening. The chief of trauma at VCU Medical Center says it's taking a toll on hospitals and healthcare workers, too, the people who have to treat the victims. Our Shannon Lilly joins us now live with that part of our in-depth coverage. Shannon?
Well, Candace, the chief of trauma at the VCU Medical Center tells me they treated close to 400 patients just last year in 2020 for gun-related injuries. And for these emergency and hospital workers, these are more than just numbers. They're human beings.
Things happen so fast. I mean, even for the incident, it just happened so fast.
June 2nd, 2020.
It's just one of those things where thank God there's people around you that know exactly what to do at that point in time.
2 Richmond police officers are rushed to the VCU Medical Center after being shot on Semmes Avenue while responding to a report of someone with a gun.
I don't remember feeling anything. I just remember waking up in kind of a panic.
For Officer Jason Scott, the night is a blur. He's brought into the VCU Trauma Center with a near-fatal gunshot wound to the chest and abdomen.
This happened around 1:30 in the morning. By 9 a.m., I was going into my third surgery.
Multiple teams worked to save his life and his left leg due to clotting. He was intubated until Friday and would end up spending more than a month in the hospital.
Without the trauma team, without the vascular surgeon that I had in orthopedics, literally all three of them working on me at one time, I don't think I'd be here at all if it wasn't for VCU.
This life-saving work
You have to be 100% prepared.
involves battling the clock, requiring teams and resources.
Our response within 15 minutes, you have an entire multidisciplinary basically response to this patient. You have the trauma surgeon, the nurse, the ED physicians, the critical intensivist, the pharmacist, a whole team that assembles.
Dr. Michael Abutanos, chief of trauma at the VCU Medical Center, says they've had to ramp up the number of teams responding to keep up with the influx of gun and violent crime-related injuries.
The way it's projected this year, we're predicting more than 500 patients, and that's about more than 120% increase in gun-related admissions to our level 1 trauma center, which is just devastating.
Dr. Abutanos says that increase in violent crime-related admissions began to climb in 2019, with a 64% increase in 2020 from 2018.
And just when we thought things would be better, this year the numbers are not better at all. They continue to be on a significant increase.
And that
We're not machines.
takes a toll on doctors, nurses, and emergency workers.
You're taking care of this patient with all your resources, all your emotions, and then the next patient comes, then the next one comes, and you have to stop, switch, be whole again, be attentive to the next one.
But Dr. Abutanos says it's not enough to just treat the patients. He and city leaders
something we can't afford not to solve.
Declared gun violence a public health crisis in May and are calling for state and federal dollars to respond to the emergency. Dr. Abutanos says that funding would go toward VCU's Trauma Center as well as their injury and violence prevention program.
Prevention is a major part of the solution as well.
Because it only takes a few seconds to have lasting impacts.
I just had clinic today. I'm seeing patients that were shot 1 or 2 years ago. I'm still seeing them in my clinics. It's a huge impact on getting this patient through the impact that it has on their families, on the society, on the community. That's why it's a public health crisis.
More than 1 year after he was shot.
I was just here a few days ago. I've been here every single month since then, multiple times a month.
Officer Scott is just beginning physical therapy and taking his recovery day by day.
But I'm definitely hopeful that my body recovers the way I want it to. And I'm thankful to be able to get to this opportunity because of VCU and how they took care of me in the beginning. If it wasn't for them handling it how they did, I don't think I'd even be at this point yet.
And Dr. Abutanos says one of the key ways that VCU is working to combat gun violence is through their injury and violence prevention program. Tonight at 11, we'll hear more about the impact of that program and why a Richmond teen shot multiple times says it changed his life. Working for you in Richmond, I'm Shannon Lilly. Candace, back to you.
We look forward to that report. Thank you, Shannon. Well, gun violence victims aren't just the people who have been shot. We are all impacted. Continually hearing about it happening in our community and hearing from families who have lost loved ones can take a toll on anybody. Tonight, our Tyler Lane speaks to mental health experts about the steps people can take to deal with the trauma that this can cause. Tyler?
Traumatic stress, chronic depression, and a feeling of numbness. Experts say gun violence isn't leaving just physical wounds. They also cut into the mind, heart, and soul.
It's sad, and the city is hurting, you know, and it's like, what do we do? How do we overcome this?
These questions keep Shonda Gaston up at night as she wrestles with the deep emotional toll of gun violence in her community.
It's always in our heads because it's always happening.
She says that all-consuming feeling of sadness motivates her to speak out against a recent uptick in shootings across Central Virginia. But she's not just speaking, she's doing.
When it comes to kids and you're harming kids or kids need help or whatever the situation may be and I can help, I'm all for it, because if I don't step up, Who will?
Gaston frequently organizes events to bring people together with one common mission, ending violence, like this car rally in April following a string of 8 shootings in the city of Richmond, and this recent vigil honoring a 16-year-old girl shot and killed in Henrico. But all these efforts come with the price to her mental health.
And I might just have to take a step back, and I might need to go cry for 30, 40 minutes just to get it back together.
It's going to be overwhelming sadness. It's going to be anxiety.
Social worker and therapist Charlie Pleasant says people in communities where gun violence is consistent are at higher risk of experiencing traumatic stress.
You will see a lot of disassociation that's happening at that point. You will see people that actually begin to shut down. You will see the helplessness, the hopelessness that comes up, the ongoing chronic major depression.
The impacts go beyond shooting victims and their families. Pleasant calls it a ripple effect that stretches across businesses, community organizations, and even medical systems.
What we rarely talk about, even though the research is there, is just the trauma's impact on structural systems in our society.
And the stress is heightened for those without a stable support system or housing security. Thankfully, she says there are helpful ways to cope. Talk with your friends and loved ones about your feelings. Exercise and try to stay active, and advocate for the changes you want to see.
Community organizations can really help you feel empowered in a situation that can leave you feeling very disempowered.
That's what fuels Gaston's determination to make a difference.
You don't know when it's going to be your last day. So, love on each other, promote peace, unity within the community.
Now, if you or a loved one are hurting because of gun violence, there is help available. Here are just a few resources: the Virginia Victims Assistance Network, the Richmond Victim Services, Rise for Youth, and the Virginia Anti-Violence Project. We'll also post those links on our website at WTVR.com. Working for you, I'm Tyler Lane, CBS 6 News. Candace?
It has been nearly 2 months since Richmond's mayor and city council declared gun violence to be a public health crisis. In doing so, they hope to get more funding and support from the state and federal government. A few weeks later, President Biden said that cities dealing with increasing crime and gun violence could use American Rescue Plan money to hire more police officers and pay for overtime. The city has so far received $77 million ARP dollars, but they tell us they're waiting for final guidance from the feds on exactly how that money can be spent.
We are considering a number of ways to use these dollars as an investment that will bring back not just a return on investment, but also a financial, a social benefit to our community as well. And obviously gun violence is at the top of the list.
And we're also told that the city is in the process of hiring someone to fill a newly created position, Community Safety Coordinator. Just a reminder, our Crime 360 coverage continues tonight on CBS 6 News at 11. Our John Burkett will tell us how a former Richmond interim chief helped solve what could be considered a performance crime in Chesterfield. And our Shannon Lilly will tell us how VCU is working to reduce gun violence and why a Richmond teen shot multiple times says it actually changed his life. You can also find all of our coverage from today on our website, WTVR.com, or you can download the free CBS 6 News app. For now, we'll send it back to the studio. Bill?
All right, thank you, Candace. Trapped and scared, 25 feet underground. The Richmond Fire Department called out to a home this morning after a dog took the wrong step, falling into a well. Hear about Otis's rescue next. That's all new at 6. Zach?
Well, another hot and humid afternoon, but later in the week, especially by the weekend, the thunderstorm chances will be increasing. I'll talk about it with my hour forecast next.
And coming up in sports, Major League Baseball is doing away with some of their pandemic changes to the game, and these are some of the oldest little leaguers you'll ever meet. We'll tell you why they got together in Hanover today. Your Nissan Play of the Day from the Tampa Bay Lightning Stanley Cup celebration. Neither rain, nor sleet, nor snow, nor any more rain. We're going to stop this appointed party. Fans stuck through a monsoonish rainstorm during yesterday's parade. It's the second straight championship for the Lightning, even though the Stanley Cup now has to head back north for some repairs because there's a little too much celebrating.
Maybe some adult beverages poured into it.
1 or 200.
Yes, shirts off. It's time to go.
Crime and violence plaguing Central Virginia.
That's a bullet hole.
parts of the Richmond area seeing spikes, some declaring gun violence a public health crisis.
It's a true epidemic.
Concern about police morale and recruiting.
CBS 6 searches for answers and solutions from multiple perspectives.
It has to stop. It has to stop.
Crime 360, stopping the violence. Today on CBS 6.
Pearson Signature Dealerships, home of the 2-time warranty on engines and transmissions.
New at 6, a stressful day to start the day for a Richmond dog named Otis. Take a look at this. This is cell phone video of him being rescued from a well outside a home on Terminal Avenue just before 8 a.m. The well was about 25 feet deep. Members of the fire department's heavy technical rescue team were able to pull Otis, a Jack Russell Terrier. They had the heavy guns in there, but he's just a little terrier. Pulled him to within safety within an hour of getting there. They said Otis had no interest, though, in sticking around to meet his rescuers. He kind of just raced back into the house once he was on solid ground. Well done, though. Well, you know who's a big fan of making sure dogs are safe? That would be our very own Walter the Weather Dog. He's teamed up with the Richmond Animal League to raise money for shelter dogs and cats so they have food and access to the medicine they need. Walter has helped raise more than $1,100 so far. And if you'd like to pitch in, you'll find a link on his Facebook or Instagram page. That's right. Walter the Weather Dog's got his own pages there. Donations could also help Walt make it into the 2022 RAL calendar. That is a true honor. Now let's check in with Walter's owner to find out that where is Walter resting these hot, humid dog days of July, Zach?
He's been pretty smart, keeping it cool, staying in the shade. He's cruising around right now, but I don't know. He's just kind of too big these days. Doesn't like to hang out in front of the camera that much. Let me show you what we did for today. And it was another hot and humid day. The numbers almost identical to yesterday. 75 the morning low, just like yesterday. 91 the high temperature this afternoon. Yesterday's high was 92, and it felt just as hot when you factor in the humidity. Looking at other temperatures here, we'll start off with Richmond, 86 degrees. Feels like 92, a south-southwest wind at 13 miles per hour, and up to our north, up in Ashland right now, it's 87. To our south, it's 86. In Petersburg, hottest temperature on the map at this time is 91 degrees, shared by Culpeper and Charlottesville. All right, here's what's going to feel like out there if you're heading out doing some late afternoon, early evening exercising. It does feel a lot hotter than the actual temperature, so just take it easy out there. It is easy to overdo it in this type of heat and humidity. Tonight, our low temperature once again will likely be 75. We'll make it 3 days in a row. And looking at our weather headlines, a few storms possible tomorrow afternoon. Not many, but I do think that we'll have a few isolated storms develop. Heat and humidity will continue for the rest of this week, but this weekend, a much better chance for showers and thunderstorms. It's a pretty dry pattern that we're in right now, but that'll break by the weekend. Let's check the view through our Millionaire cam. And you see some blue sky mixed in with some high, thin clouds. And there's a view from up top looking down from space. And you can see some of those high clouds exiting the area. So I've got full sunshine on me again. And we'll have a few little high, thin clouds from time to time this evening. Not much in the way of any showers or storms. There have been some back to our west with an upper level trough. That would be the reason that we have a little bit of a chance of a shower storm tomorrow, but again, those chances are pretty limited. Rest of tonight, a few isolated severe storms way back to our north and west, and tomorrow that threat shifts to our east and north. We still could have a few storms around here with some lightning and some locally strong wind gusts. Lows for tonight will be in the mid-70s, and highs tomorrow, once again in the low and a few mid-90s. It will feel close to 100 for a couple hours tomorrow afternoon, and we'll have a low-end chance for a shower or thunderstorm out there. So not much at 30%, but there's a chance. Southwest winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour. All right, here it is, hour by hour. Rest of tonight, nothing going on. Tomorrow, nothing happening until afternoon. Then we'll have a few pop-up storms developing. You see some of those here. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow. As we get into Thursday, just a hot and humid day, and we'll have a little bit better chance for a few storms rolling our way as we get into Friday. So here's a look at our temperature trend, 90s for the rest of the week, and then we drop into the 80s by Sunday and mid-80s next Monday and Tuesday. So there's a little bit of cooling on the way, and we'll have a chance for showers and storms this weekend, a better chance than we've seen in a little while, 60% both Saturday and Sunday. It would not be what I call washout weekend, at least not at this point, but definitely something to consider if you have outdoor plans. You're going to have the CBS 6 weather app handy to let you know when heavy rain or lightning happens to move into the area. There's a chance for storms coming up on Wednesday, a break Thursday, a chance for some storms Friday, and then the real chances show up over the upcoming weekend at 60% Saturday and Sunday.
All right, thank you, Zach. Now let's take a look at your primetime lineup tonight on CBS 6.
For 20 years, John Burkett has been Central Virginia's crime insider.
Good evening, everyone. Two of Major League Baseball's most noticeable pandemic changes are not going to be considered permanent, according to the sports commissioner. Rob Manfred spoke with the Baseball Writers of America today ahead of tonight's All-Star game and said that 7-inning doubleheaders and starting extra innings with a runner on second base were innovations specific to the coronavirus protocols. Both rules were adopted for last year's shortened season and kept into this year, but were also based on medical advice before widespread vaccinations. Neither change is expected to make it into the next season at the sport's highest level. Mets first baseman Pete Alonso successfully defended his home run derby title last night in Colorado, beating Trey Mancini of the Orioles in the final. Alonso hit 74 homers in 3 rounds, traveling over 6 miles in total distance in beating Salvador Perez, Juan Soto, and Mancini. Shohei Ohtani of the Angels, the home run leader in the majors, was eliminated in the first round by Soto in a slugfest that featured 61 homers, 10 of which traveled at least 500 feet. Earlier today, some of Richmond's first Little League baseball players gathered for a reunion in Mechanicsville. The national organization was founded in 1939, but the first teams in this area were organized in the late 50s and had some humble beginnings. Players wore jeans with jersey tops before full uniforms were available, but their love of the game was easy to see even at a young age.
Now, all we had was a bicycle, a bat and glove, and a ball. So we did that all day long, every day. If we weren't playing at Old Sleds Field, we were playing in the churchyard somewhere or someone's backyard. So that's all we had, were gloves and bikes, so we played.
The Major League Baseball draft is finished after 20 rounds, and 18 players with ties to the Commonwealth were selected, including 6 from UVA and 4 from Virginia Tech. UVA's Andrew Abbott was the first player from Virginia taken with the 53rd overall pick to the Reds. 2 VCU players were picked. Bradford Webb in the 7th round to the Rangers, and Danny Watson went in the 15th round to the Yankees. The last Virginia player taken was Liberty's Will Wagner, who went in the 18th round to the Astros. Will's father, Billy Wagner, is the Astros' all-time saves leader. And the Flying Squirrels will open their next homestand tonight at the Diamond against the Somerset Patriots, who moved from Trenton this year. Richmond has won 7 of their last 9. They are still in 4th place in their division, but only 2 games out of 1st. We will update tonight's game coming up at 11. That is the latest from the CBS 6 Sports Desk.
That humidity is going to stay with us, it seems, through the night, Zach.
Yeah, it is July after all, so the days that you don't have humidity, they come at a premium. We're going to keep this pattern going through the rest of the week. Could have a couple storms tomorrow. Much better chances of rain, though, over the upcoming weekend.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you for watching. We'll see you back here in 30 minutes for the news at 7. Have a great evening.